Thank you to the National Governors Association for hosting this national virtual summit on state cybersecurity and for inviting me to speak with you today. This summit is happening at a consequential moment in our country's cybersecurity landscape. Last month, we began to learn about the SolarWinds hack, which targeted more than 250 government agencies and private companies. This attack is more severe than most people are aware of right now and broader than initially believed. And the more we learn about it, the more troubled I am. This hack is a sobering reminder about the vulnerabilities in our systems. Most experts had assumed that the United States had been operating on a level playing field and understood the threats that we face. But it seems that this hack was on a magnitude that we had not anticipated. And it's extremely concerning that it went on for so long undetected. We must eliminate the vulnerabilities that led to this attack, learn the full scope of the breach, and strengthen our cybersecurity systems to prevent future attacks. And it's clear that we must fundamentally change our approach to cyber threats. That starts with supercharging the cooperation and coordination that the federal government has with states, as well as with the private sector, to ensure that we have a seamless system to counter threats of this nature. As a member of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, determining the full scope of this breach and how we move forward from it is a top priority of mine. And I'm focused on working with the Biden administration and Republicans and Democrats in Congress in order to strengthen our capacity to manage emerging cyber threats. While we work to protect against large-scale threats at the federal level, we have to strengthen cybersecurity throughout our society, since, as you all know, our systems are interconnected. If an American city or healthcare system can't operate because of a cyber attack, then that's an attack on the security of all of us. We can't just defend federal systems against cyber attacks and assume that that's enough to protect our national security. We must help protect state and local entities against cyber threats as well. Bad actors have targeted and continue to target states and communities. And we need to both significantly improve the cyber resiliency of our communities through dedicated resources and funding, and also adopt better strategies for how we respond to and deter these threats. But we know that state and local governments face challenges in getting these vital resources and in hiring the experts that they need to address cyber threats. I recently organized a Homeland Security subcommittee hearing on state and local cyber threats, and witnesses reiterated what was already clear to me as a former governor. Many state and local governments don't have adequate funding to scale up their cybersecurity efforts or to hire dedicated staff to address cyber threats. The federal government has a responsibility to help states respond to threats, and I am working with Republicans and Democrats on a number of efforts to increase the support and resources available. To address threats of every magnitude, we must bolster communication with the federal government and our state and local partners. We're only as secure as our weakest element, but for too long, smaller, more vulnerable entities have gone without the necessary investment. I recently introduced critical legislation with Republican Senators John Cornyn and Rob Portman and Democratic Senator Gary Peters to help bolster cybersecurity at all levels of government. And I'm glad to report that this measure became law as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, otherwise known as the NDAA. Under this law, each state will have its own federally funded cybersecurity coordinator. The cybersecurity coordinator will be responsible for helping to prevent and respond to cybersecurity threats by working with federal, state, and local governments, as well as schools, hospitals, and other entities. Cybersecurity coordinators will provide key support and technical knowledge, and there'll be a bridge between the federal government and state and local entities, helping improve communication, strengthening cybersecurity preparedness, and ensuring that systems are in place if a cyber attack does in fact occur. In addition, we must continue working to increase information sharing and coordination between private companies and the federal government, since no system, state, local, or federal, is safe without the private sector systems they work with being safe as well. For example, the Internet of Things, or IoT, Cybersecurity Improvement Act, which I co-sponsored and that's now law, would require minimum security requirements for Internet of Things devices purchased by the federal government. This bill creates an incentive for companies to develop safer devices, which could help improve safety and security at every level of government and in the private sector. These are important steps forward, but we have more work to do, and we must use all of the tools at our disposal to do it. As you all know, the National Guard plays a key role in keeping states safe, but right now it's limited in how it can support state efforts to improve their cyber defenses. That's why I joined with Senator Cornyn on a bill that makes clear that states are authorized to use the National Guard to provide cyber support services to states and localities. By making it easier for states to leverage the talent and expertise of the National Guard, we can help prevent cyber attacks before they happen. Finally, in order to address the funding challenges that states experience, I'm focused on creating a standalone grant program for states to strengthen cybersecurity efforts. We must give state and local governments the resources that they need to strengthen their information technology systems from all forms of cyber threats. I'm also focused on ensuring that both our nation's schools and our hospitals can adequately defend against cyber threats. My staff and I are exploring ways to better protect these entities as they provide critical services to our children and our loved ones during the pandemic and beyond. In the days and years to come, we will continue to face new and challenging threats. Responding to them requires that we work together and that we be clear-eyed about the evolving nature of our cybersecurity challenges. I'm committed to doing that and to continuing to work with both Republicans and Democrats at the federal level and with our partners at the state level. I encourage you all to continue to communicate between states and collaborate with various local partners in your own states to share best practices and work to protect against cyber attacks. By working together, we can protect the American people, businesses, and our economy. Thank you all for what you do, and stay safe.